sure I got this. All right, so what I want to do is poke at the institution a little bit and tell you why you need to think about the context of what we're talking about in, with narrative, right? So a lot of times the problem is not the problem, but it's the way you view the problem. So what I want to do is posit, which I think we've already accepted, that DoD struggles to understand the use of information. And I want to pull back, though, from talking about narrative to looking at how we look at strategy, how we look at power, and how the institution is organized, so you can understand where this actually fits. So we organize our elements of national power in our thinking, our national strategy, and in our doctrine as diplomatic, information, military, and economic, right? So 3 of these 4 have got executive agency. They've got someone in charge of it because it's viewed important enough to control. The only one that doesn't is here, right? It's the information space. It suffers from what I call a tragedy of the commons, and I think it's because the nature of information is undervalued and it's misunderstood. And I would argue that if we want to be effective, we actually need to have executive agency, not only at the U.S. government level, but at all levels within DoD, right? You need a series of stovepipes of excellence. But the other part of this is that information is also ubiquitous, so everyone needs kind of a common competency in this. A silo of excellence will not solve the problem. And then what I would also argue, and I'll make this case a little bit later, is that it is information around which we should actually organize our strategy, our military strategy. So military doctrine, if you revisit the military power, what military doctrine says is the purpose of the military is to fight and win the nation's wars. They say fundamentally this is a coercive tool and we achieve effects through the application of force. And I think it's a very limiting statement that helps us not understand this information space. And what I would tell you is the strategy is actually, or the purpose of the military is actually to achieve strategic aims, not to just fight and win the nation's wars, because we do a lot of things that aren't even war fighting, right? As a matter of fact, most of the things we do are not war fighting. So if you get information as an organizing logic, you can start making sense of this. First, you have to ask yourself what strategy is. And our doctrine looks at strategy as a prudent set of ideas for organizing the instrument of national power towards a common objective. And they'll teach us in our schools to think about it in terms of ends, ways, means, and risk. But I would say that, and this has made it into the JCOE, is that fundamentally strategy is an approach to change someone else's behavior to accord with our national interests, right? And that's fundamentally different. So if we're looking at strategy as a way to change behavior, now we have to ask ourselves what power is, right? So one of the key insights from complexity theory and systems thinking is that complex adaptive systems, or you can think social systems, are organized using information. So behavior emerges based on information, which means that information is actually our primary consideration. But in the military, what do we think of? We think of physical force. We think of the ability to destroy, and we equate that with power. However, if strategy is a way to change someone's behavior, then we're going to have to start thinking about this differently. And this is what Mary is getting at, is combining these two towards that behavioral outcome. But in order to do that, we have to kind of have a paradigm change. We have to change the way we plan and think about operations, because right now, we are not built to do this. And not only do we have to be able to do this, but we actually still have to retain the ability to do this. So we can't lose this, we have to add to it. And we have to place it in context. So, what are your obstacles to influence? What are your obstacles to incorporating narrative? This is kind of just a partial list, but it's important to look at this and understand. So, doctrine, our culture, our planning processes, which I already spoke about a little bit, our education, training, intelligence capabilities, and force structure are all optimized towards battle. We're very good at it. We are built to fight, and we can do that. But you also have these hidden assumptions, which I got at before, but also assumptions about information and how that works. And it's kind of thought of a lot of times as a layman's game or something you can throw on afterwards. And then I think someone else addressed this earlier. You have a vague terminology surrounding information. It's hard to nail down what is information, what is narrative. You were talking about this earlier with defining this. And man, we have racked our brains in our working groups in the Pentagon trying to say, what is this and how do you define it? And what we kind of, I think, have gotten to, and it's an unsatisfactory answer, is that let the term be vague, but make the definition of it as precise as you can. All right, so it's kind of the story behind the story. So what I would argue is our system is actually designed to succeed tactically, but it is also designed to fail strategically. And that's that missing middle that a lot of people are writing about right now. But we haven't explicitly acknowledged this, so we can't address it. So what I would tell you, if you want narratives or information power to work, we've got a lot of other work to do other than just understanding how information or how narrative works. You have to design a system that can actually use it and still be able to defend the nation and pursue our national interests. So, thank you.